What's going on, everyone? It's Badger. Make sure to like and sub, and let's get into this. So, Bounding into Comics has this article that just came out. I thought it would be fun for all of us to go over it. It's the most hilarious woke pop culture fails of 2023. And I know people use woke too much. They use it on things that are just traditionally progressive, although that mistake is not often made. It does happen. Woke is just a catch-all term for a lot of different things. Identity politics, cultural Marxism, intersectional feminism is the big one. Most of the time people say woke, it's just intersectional feminism. The point is, all of it divides us. And really, my interpretation of woke has always been when you put agenda before story and character. And that's all they do. They put their agenda before the story and the characters. And this, my friends, is the result. So let us go on a journey together with Bounding into Comics list for 2023. Start this out here. Yeah, this started. Okay. The world, it seemed, had had enough of woke mind virus permeating and corrupting both society and pop culture, and the pendulum-like backlash was in full effect. We're talking about Wish here, of course, that should have been a celebration of 100 years at Disney, and instead, the fact that it was 100 years at Disney just ended up being an afterfact. This led to a series of amusing, surprising, and downright unexpected cultural twists that signaled the end of woke dominance. And I don't know if it's the end of woke dominance, but it's certainly showing some signs that people are waking up. And its slow yet inevitable reversal. Society was fighting back and winning. To commemorate a glorious 2023, we are highlighting the most laugh out loud woke blunders of the entire year. So sit back, relax, and join us as we stop and smell the ashes. That is Schadenfreude. It's a German expression for deriving pleasure from the destruction of others. And in this case, it's warranted. All right, so Disney on the ropes after multiple box office bombs. And it's been a lot. The House of Mouse has been marching steadily towards its own cultural destruction and irrelevance by the time 2023 rolled around, and audiences began tuning out altogether. Was a year of unmitigated box office disasters, starting with the ill-fated and poorly executed Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, a film that suffered an astonishing 70% drop in ticket sales after its initial first week haul of 106 million. Of course, they turned Scott Lang into a joke, made him a beta male cuck. He literally has saved the world and the galaxy and all the timelines, and they made him, oh, you're not doing enough. Despicable. Plus Kang, that we now learned they only focused on Kang because of his performance in that little bit at the end of Loki season 1. And now we also learned that that's the reason Avengers 5 actually got canceled, not because of Jonathan Majors' conviction, but because this movie did so poorly. Next in line was Guardians of the Galaxy, which was the only Disney product to make money. It was the only one. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, riding on the coattails of the goodwill it had built up with its fan base over the years, the movie managed to rake in, $358 million domestically, culminating in a worldwide grand total of $845 million, on par with the first two films. And then, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, that's a Sony production. Yes, exactly. Here's the big one. The problems began to manifest in earnest by the time spring was in full bloom, starting with the controversial and widely panned remake of The Little Mermaid, which of course failed to excite moviegoers. And then everyone got blamed as racists and sexists. The film was execrated for race swapping the character of Ariel, implementing a number of drastic and unnecessary changes, and perhaps worst of all, allowing Awkwafina to rap. Oh, it really is horrible. Please go. Actually, don't go. But if you like nails on a chalkboard, go listen to Awkwafina's rap. Yeah, it's pretty bad. From there, the dominoes began to fall one after the other. Animated films like Elemental and Wish failed to generate much in the way of audience enthusiasm, while unnecessarily regurgitated IPs like Haunted Mansion, which by all accounts was just mid, wasn't even offensive, were given toe tags upon arrival. Even the Titanic Indiana Jones franchise collapsed under Disney's own hubris, earning a pittance more on that. Earning a pittance, and then more on that film later. And we have, Disney, their culture, they alienated the families, and that was the end of that. Rachel Zegler and Disney, upstaged by the Daily Wire Snow White trailer. I mean, you can blame all of this purely on this young lady right here for her oh so fun comments about the original Snow White. I'm not going to read all of his, no offense, bounding. I'm not going to read every single thing he says. Yeah, her her disrespect to Disney, the company, the original source material, calling the prince a stalker, and just pretty much alienating everyone, pissing off everyone, even the Disney stands alike. So, and yeah, she had a little bit of media talking. We tried to see her course correct. Too late, because of course Daily Wire pounced on it. They're doing their own version. Brett Cooper said everything that Rachel Zegler should have said, and how she's just honored to bring it to the big screen, and how she grew up with it. It's a timeless classic. Blah 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 blah. The funniest thing is that clip of Rachel Zegler saying that she doesn't even know if the guy, whatever the guy's name is that was playing the prince, doesn't even know if he'll be in the movie. It's Hollywood, baby. And now we're getting reports that she has actually been cut or minimized from the movie, that they're adding an entire subplot of a younger Snow White in the movie. So there's less Rachel Zegler. So Rachel was right. It's Hollywood, baby. Let's go to the next one. Nobody watched the Marvels. Nope. Nobody watched the Marvels. And yes, this is proven. This is what we all said. The only reason Captain Marvel made $1 billion originally was because you said it in between Infinity War and Endgame, and you told us it mattered, and it didn't. And that was also one of the first, like, oh, they lied. They lied. They said something was important, and it really wasn't. Cue to most things from then on not being important. But following Endgame's release, the quality of MCU films began to erode. Yes, and it's because Kevin Feige was given 100% complete control. Notice everything started saying a Kevin Feige production, and he got his little feminist wet dream that he said proudly that soon Marvel will be more women than men. And this, of course, gave birth to the MCU. All credits go to Gary from Nerdrotic for coining that phrase. And they've doubled down. It's been nothing but MCU since. Female focused, female centric. When the men are there, they're derided or weak. The women are perfect, and their only character arc is you realizing that they are perfect. That's what it is. That's what it is. And the great thing about the Marvels is women didn't go see it. Women didn't go. They went to see Barbie. Why didn't they go see the Marvels? It's almost like they could smell that this was a shallow pandering. I don't know. They're either giving the audience too much credit or not enough, or maybe it's a little bit of both. Because certainly there's some people that accept this pandering, but the loud ones on Twitter that say what a fun movie and how amazing this was, they're not really paying to go see it. As we see in the box office for all of these things. So MCU, Marvels, look, Brie, sweet Brie. Is anyone really mad at Brie Larson anymore? I mean, Rachel Zegler and all these others. She's innocent at this point. I don't know. Does anyone even like me? Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny gets upstaged by Sound of Freedom. I mean, I'll put a pin in the Sound of Freedom one. How about Indiana Jones is just a complete, utter piece of shit because yet another British woman with brown hair, Kathleen Kennedy insert, insufferable, Helena Shaw was added. Yeah, that's what tanked Indiana Jones. And again, another legacy character. It wasn't enough to have to have Han Solo, a bad dad that was killed by his son, didn't save anyone. Okay, fine. This is the character he's supposed to care about. He's supposed to care about Indiana Jones. What do we get? Old, drunk, divorced. Yeah. I know they get together at the end. Doesn't matter. The point was, didn't need that. But again, he's a legacy character, so you have to have a woman lead him around, upstage him, knock him out. Sad turn of events. There are only 3 Indiana Jones movies, as far as I'm concerned. You will sleep better. And yes, The Sound of Freedom. This was a really creepy shit that we saw where all of the left media, for whatever the reasons, tried to call this alt-right porn and QAnon people are going to love this. Bro, it's a movie about stopping child sex trafficking, and it's fucking based like mainly on a true events with real people. So you ask yourself, what kind of people would be against you stopping that? Interesting. Probably the same people that want to give puberty blockers, but I digress. So yeah, I've heard Sound of Freedom is really good, really moving. Probably not a movie you're going to watch more than once, but definitely a movie you are going to watch once. I know Mr. Tech Rat endorsed it. Hollywood on strike and nobody cares. I was so happy when they went on strike. I, like many of you, probably were like, fine, stay on strike. Stay. Don't nobody need you. Iron Age, we will do it ourselves. I mean, yeah, you're good for content. Thanks. I'm building a channel off of the dumb shit you're doing. So there's that. But if you all went away, the channel would just be about classical nerd stuff. We would just transition right into the only transitioning that will happen. We would just go right into talking about traditional nerd stuff in games, and all of their dumb agenda would just go away into the ether from whence it came. So yeah, their strike, that was great. And by the way, they screwed themselves so bad with that strike that half, like if there were 600 productions last year, there's 300 this year. All their shit got canceled because they let it go on too long, and they could use force majeure, which means canceling it. Sorry, went on too long. Pretentious and unskilled writers walk the picket lines with contractual demands in tow. Yeah, remember when Rachel Zegler said she wants to get paid for every minute she's in a dress? Oh, that was fun. Stay on strike. I still say it. 45,000 jobs were lost. Yeah. Well, after you hear what they say in the WGA and who they're paying and hiring, good. Ahsoka's feminist overtones kill the entire series. Yeah. Granted, I watched Rebels. I watched Clone Wars. I know who Ahsoka is. Yes, I think she should have died in Order 66. Or certainly she should have died to Vader in that episode of Rebels. But I like her as a character, and I could give less than a shit about any of the people in this show for some reason. And I like all the actors. It's just material. I needed George on set going faster, more intense, because it was just boring. Even the action scenes, I just didn't care. The best about it was Ray Winston as Balin, clearly. And even that was like not that much. It was just because he was stoic the way they wish they could write their female characters to be stoic. He has gravitas. He says a lot without saying much, as opposed to when they try that with everyone else, Ahsoka just folds her arms, stares longingly at, never mind. That's a whole nother one. Yeah, it just wasn't that good. Again, and this is Dave Filoni. Sorry, guys. It's not as great as you all think, but time will continue to show this. And obviously anything Kathleen. The Force is female. We've caught on. Everyone is caught on. Yeah, and yes, I'm a sucker for it's red. He Vadered. Look, I was just happy to see Hayden back. The moment he picked up a lightsaber, it just looks 1,000 times better than any of these jamokes. It's just, he elevated it, and he got some little acting moments. I know. It's key jangling, and I happily accept this key jangling just because I am a Hayden fan. A Hayden stan, if you will. Thrawn in name only, fan fiction, not Thrawn like he is in the books. It's such a shame that Timothy Zahn sold out and rewrote his own character to be a bitch-made DC version. Speaking of bitch-made, Doctor Who. I mean, I am so glad. I don't think I could take another franchise being destroyed from me. So I'm really glad I never got into Doctor Who. Unfortunately, by virtue of that, I'm seeing Mahler as Gary, Critical Drinker a little bit, Disbrew. I'm watching them all just be wrecked by yet another one of their beloved franchises being ruined. And not just be ruined, but Russell T Davies coming back and doubling, tripling down on all of their identity politic, intersectional feminism, all of this bullshit is like the equivalent of George coming back and being like, nah, Rey was actually the chosen one, and Luke is toxic, and Anakin, well, Anakin is toxic, at least when he's Darth Vader. But you get my point. It was an extra heavy insult having Russell T Davies be the one. Oh, yeah, and it's bad to the point where they got nothing. No one is watching it. They're not even covering it anymore. That's how turned off they are. Yeah, they turned a classic villain who always was all like a General Grievous, basically, but in a wheelchair. And then Russell T Davies is dumb. So he goes, yeah, we're tired of people associating wheelchairs with villains, even though, yeah, as pointed out here, there's an onslaught of like people with disabilities, Charles Xavier, Daredevil, Oracle, Cyborg, Doctor Strange. Yeah, we don't associate them with villainhood. That only you do. You're telling on yourself, Russell. Yeah, so Doctor Who is dead, and then I know this is one of the bigger ones. That's South Park. That's South Park Pandaverse. I use all the time. Kathleen Kennedy, put a tick in it and make it go. A name. Yeah, they a little late, I would say, because we've been saying this for years. And they should have had Kevin Feige instead of Kathleen Kennedy, because he's really the one pandering everything. But it served its purpose. Apparently, it really pissed off Kathleen Kennedy to the point where she was trying to get this show taken down. But thankfully, Trey Parker and Matt Stone had too much juice. So yeah, if you haven't watched that Panderstone special, she gets the Panderstone from from another dimension, and she can keep remaking the same movie over and over again, which is, again, that's more of a Kevin Feige thing. And yeah, this is the one where all of a sudden boycotts started working, and that was the Anheuser-Busch, Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light, which apparently it was one fucking can that they sent to her, but it didn't matter because you virtue signaled to the wrong group. And then that dumb executive came out. Yeah, there she is. That dumb executive came out, hired fresh out of college, and said, "We don't want a frat boy culture." My darling, 99% of all Bud Light, Bud Ice, all Anheuser products are fucking frat boy culture. And Patriot frat boy. So you pissed off everyone. You went after the one beer brand. Yeah. So that was a fun little collapse. And then the real thing is, and I hope this isn't about left, right. I mean, they're going to make it that way. And certainly there is a heavy propaganda. Politics is a big thing with this. And it is propaganda the way they've been using it. The way I want it to go back to is just good storytelling. The problem is they see traditional storytelling as right-wing propaganda because it pushes the nuclear family and strong male characters and feminine female characters, even if they themselves are strong. But it's not. That's just good storytelling that everyone can relate to. That's what we need to go back to. And I hope, and I think this is the hope here too, that with things like Reacher and Terminal List and a return to good movies, you will vote with your money, basically. And if you're not going to vote with your money, vote with your voice. And if you can't vote with your voice, well, you come here and you like and sub, and I'll vote with my voice to yell at these dummies that no, just go back. We're seeing with Daredevil Born Again. They're course correcting. So there it is. There was the list. Did you agree with any of these for 2023? Or some of these more deserving than others? Was there something that happened in 2023 that was not on this list that you wish was on there? If there was, by all means, write down there in the comments. If you stuck with me this long, God bless you. Please, thank you very much. If you stayed this long, and if you've subbed and liked to the channel, thank you. Please, and if you haven't subbed or liked to the channel, please do so. My God, if you're still here and you haven't subbed or liked to the channel, what are we doing? And we will see you. We will see you on the next one.